Good day, everyone. How has been our day? You are welcome to Ascent Business Academy 4th Anniversary Day 3. We want to appreciate you for your time and dedication to this. Thank you very much. We do not take it for granted. So now we are going to be taking our Ascent anthem. Our Ascent anthem.
Enterprise Edge. There's something great in me, oh, a strength in me, oh, a power in me, oh, it makes me wanna fly. Do you wanna fly? Yeah. Get me out of fly. Do you wanna fly? I've got the cotton head. I can fly. Soaring in the sky. I believe I can fly. Enterprise, yeah. I believe I can fly. With enterprise, there's something great in me, oh, a strength in me, oh, a power in me, oh, it makes me wanna fly. Do you wanna fly? Yeah. Get me out of fly. Do you wanna fly? I've got the cotton head. I can fly. Soaring in the sky. I believe I can fly. Enterprise, yeah. I believe I can fly. With enterprise.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. So right about now, the Executive Director of Ascent Business Academy is going to be giving an introduction into this great event. You are welcome.
Thank you very much. This is the third in the series of lectures that we'll be having since Thursday. The first one was on agriculture, agribusiness. The second one was on entrepreneurship, and this that is on what we call PASSIONOMICS. Is the third in the series. I have a good pleasure welcoming you to this event. First of all, I'd like to emphasize again that Arts and Business Academy set out in 2018 precisely to be of blessing to the youth community, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa. And by the grace of God, we've had to train a few outside Nigeria. And the idea, again, is to ensure that contents which are not taught in our universities and are so much needed, greatly needed by our young people, are taught in our academy. So our academy is something like a beach academy. It's like a finishing school, and sincerely, we have been greatly helped by God. Over 4 years now, we have trained nothing less than 100, and with various testimonies. Today, we are looking at Passionomics, like I said. Specifically, we're looking at the creative industries. The creative industries comprise various professions and callings that involve creativity, architecture, film and movie making, writing, communication in general, and including, of course, sports, drama, like I said. So all of these comprise the creative economy. And we have discovered that the creative economy particularly is so important to the up and coming young ones. Why? Because a lot of them find themselves in this space, and it's a great place for them to actualize their dreams and, of course, meet the needs of the society. So our guest today is somebody very special to us in Arts and Business Academy, somebody who over the years, I could say, we've grown up together and has proved to be a source of inspiration to as many as have come across her path. Today, Kemi Gbadamosi is our guest speaker, and Bolu will be introducing Kemi Gbadamosi before she comes from there. Okay, there's no need anyway. Kemi is just Kemi. Kemi finished from Federal University of Technology, Akure, and she runs an organization called New York City Media. In the past few years, over about 10, 12 now, she has distinguished herself in the industry, several awards, and many more are still coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, after this time out, we'll be having Kemi come on board to speak to us. I'm sure she's online already. Thank you very much.
Don't be a parrot in life. A parrot talks way too much, but can't fly high. But an eagle is silent and has the willpower to touch the sky. Here's the 7 mentalities that we can learn from an eagle. Number 1, eagles fly alone at high altitude. Eagles don't fly with sparrows, ravens, and other small birds, meaning stay away from narrow-minded people, those that bring you down. Eagles fly with eagles. There's a saying that goes like this: people you hang around will eventually determine the person you become. Keep good company. Number 2, eagles have vision. They have the ability to focus on something as far as 5 kilometers away. No matter what the obstacles, the eagle will not move his focus from the prey until he grabs it. Meaning, have a vision and remain focused in your life. No matter what the obstacles and challenges you may face, don't give up and you will succeed. Number 3, eagles are fearless. An eagle will never surrender to the size or strength of its prey. It will always give a fight to win its prey or regain its territory, meaning no matter what the size or big your problems are, don't give up. Instead, face it. Successful people are fearless. They face problems head on. Number 4, eagles are tenacious. Eagles love storm. When clouds gather, the eagles get excited. The eagles use the storm wind to lift themselves higher. Once it finds the wind of the storm, the eagles use the raging storm to lift itself above the clouds. This gives the eagle the opportunity to glide and rest its wings. In the meantime, all the other birds hide in the branches and leaves of the tree, meaning achievers are not afraid of challenges. Rather, they relish in them and use them for profitability. Number 5, eagles never eat dead things. Eagles never eat dead meat. In other words, an eagle does not scavenge. It only eats the meat from the prey it kills itself. Meaning, do not rely on your past success. Keep looking for new frontiers to conquer. Leave your past where it belongs, in the past. Number 6, eagles prepare for training. They remove the feather and the soft grass in the nest so that the young ones get uncomfortable in preparation for flying. And eventually, they fly when it becomes too unbearable to stay in the nest. Meaning, leave your comfort zone. There is no growth there. Last but not least, number 7, eagles possess vitality. When the eagle grows old, his feathers become weak and cannot take him as fast and as high as it should. This makes him weak and could make him die, so he retires to a place far away in the mountains. And while there, he plucks out the weak feathers in his body and breaks his beak and his claws against the rocks until he is completely bare. A very bloody and painful process. Then he stays in his hiding place until he has grown new feathers, new beaks and claws, and then comes out flying higher than ever before. Meaning, we occasionally need to shed off old habits, no matter how difficult. Things that burden us or add no value to our lives should be let go of. Thanks for watching this video. Share and subscribe for more amazing inspiration.
We deliberately brought that tool up to find what we could call minimum of a comparison to what we have known Kemi to be over the years. Very determined, very passionate, of course, quite innovative, very visionary, and of course, a go-getter in every respect. we don't have any other thing to describe the speaker of today, except to say that she's somebody with the enterprise edge. Can we have our enterprise edge anthem?
Enterprise edge. There's something great in me, oh, a strength in me, oh, a power in me, oh, it makes me wanna fly. Do you wanna fly? Yes. Dare me as a fly. Do you wanna fly? I've got the guts and I can fly. Soaring in the sky. I believe I can fly. Enterprise, yeah. I believe I can fly. With enterprise, there's something great in me, oh, a strength in me, oh, a power in me, oh, it makes me wanna fly. Do you wanna fly? Yes. Dare me as a fly. Do you wanna fly? I've got the guts and I can fly. Soaring in the sky. I believe I can fly. Enterprise, yeah. I believe I can fly. With enterprise.
Thank you so very much. Enterprise edge is what everybody needs to fly. And I do not have to describe our guest speaker today more than this. She's got the enterprise edge. She's flying. Permit me to invite, I call her Star, E-Star, Esther, Kemi Gbadamosi, she came on the floor. Kemi, you're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, I don't know. Can I get, I have a slide. I don't know if it's something that I can put up, that would like to follow. I would like to share a slide. Let's do that. Let's see if I can. Okay. Okay. So. Okay. All right. Sorry. Can everyone see the slide? Okay. Hello. Can everyone hear me? Okay, you can hear me. Okay. All right. Okay. So hello everyone. Good evening. It's a real privilege actually to be here, and to have been invited, to speak. It's something that it's way beyond me actually. To be part of something that I was there right from way back, to be there, to be here. I've been here right from way back. This was like the very beginning with Pastor Kemi. I remember that my very first few steps at entrepreneurship, came from him, and it's amazing that it's been years down the line, and we can find ourselves in this particular situation. So Pastor Kemi, he's been amazing all of these years. We get to talk about a whole lot of stuff, that we're looking forward to. And being intentional is not something that just happens. It's something that we work out over the years, and seeing it come to this point and with Ascent and all, it's just been pretty amazing. So it's thank you very much for having me, and it's really a privilege, and I'd really be excited. I'm really excited to share, a little bit of the passion that has helped, in the last, let's say 15, 20 years, working of trying to figure out all that we need to do and all. So it's something that I'm really excited about. So without wasting too much time, I'm talking about Passionomics, as everyone already knows, and it's the bliss of creativity. My name is Kemi Gbadamosi, and I'm a filmmaker, stop motion animator, and it's something that I've done. I've worked as a filmmaker for about 20 years. Yes, 20 years, and probably even more than that as a student. And then stop motion animation has been probably in the last 8 years, or 10 years, thereabout. 10 years in the sense that there was a time that, one was trying to decide, and we're dabbling into it and all. And so it's obviously been a journey, really amazing one, trying to make decisions and all. And so, wow, it's when I think about it now, it's the last few days has been an opportunity to really think way back, and see, okay, how did we get here, and how has it been, how did it happen? Because as much as possible, we don't want the class to be about this coming together, to just be about the theory that, or the theorics that we all know, but more about, what exactly gets us to where we're going, what exactly is, our driving force, and what makes it happen? How do we get things done and all? And so it's been an amazing experience. And so let's just go ahead, with the slide. I don't know if you can see. These are some of the stop motion. I don't only work in stop motion. I also work I've made documentaries. I've made documentaries that's gone to a lot of countries. Won quite a number of awards. And I'm also into narrative films and all. And then I'm also of course, into animation. So animation has been something that I had to make a decision on, sorry, I don't know. I just would like to check. Can you hear me? I don't know, just to be sure.
We can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, and so like there's no.
Yes,
okay,
I can hear you.
There's no noise. Okay, so it's clear. Okay,
it's clear, right. Very clear.
Thank you. Okay, so these are some of the stop motion films that I've worked on in the last couple of years, since 2019, till like last year. We're already working on one this year actually, and I'm really excited about it. It's titled Pop Pop, but these are some of the ones that we've worked on. And you'd wonder why am I just showing stop motion? Because that's essentially what, the decision that has changed a whole lot of things. I've been a filmmaker, I've worked, like I said, in documentary and then in normal life action, that's narrative films, like we have, in the cinemas and all. I currently have a feature film that is in post at the moment, that's live action. But stop motion is the one for me that has been more or less the game changer, in the sense that it was very hard to make the decision for it, but it's something that has turned out to be much more viable than I originally thought. And I know that there are quite a number of young people here, and so that's why I really want to key in into this, so that we can understand where we have come from, where we are, and how the journey has gone to where we are now. And of course, not just now, because we don't just stop. we keep moving, and to where we're going. So without spending too much time as well, passionomics, it's obviously passion and economics. That's the combination, of the two. It's passion being a strong liking or desire, for something, to get something done, for an activity, for an object, for a concept, you really do have a strong liking. The question is it enough? But let's talk about it. You have a strong, you want something to happen. That's what passion really is, and it's something that it doesn't just happen in the moment. It happens, over the course of years, over the course of experiences, over the course of different things. But it's passion. Passion is passion. You have a desire to get something done. Now, economics is obviously the idea of the knowledge. It's an aspect of knowledge actually that has to do with the money coming in, the production, the consumption, and the transfer of wealth. It's essentially where passion begins to profit. What you do brings in the money. So it's not just about, just anything. Now, in this case, when we're talking about passionomics, it's about the thing that you love, things that you're natural about, beginning to bring in the money. And then, of course, I wanted to just explain a little bit about creativity. Now, this is just for baseline purposes. Now, the use of your imagination or original idea to create something. Now, essentially, that's what creativity is. That means I have an original idea. I have something that comes into my mind. It might be as a result of my experiences and all, and then I find a way to create it, to bring it to reality. Now that's creativity, right? Okay. So, all right. Okay. So yeah, turning passion to profit. Yeah. So creativity is, it could come out. It could express itself in different ways. It could come out as, in the arts. It could come out in the technicals like engineering and all, which happens to be my background. My original background was in agri-engineering. That's what I studied, in FUTA, that's Federal University of Technology, Akure, where that was where I had the opportunity to meet Pastor Kemi, so that I just make the records clear. So your creativity to come out in various things. You come out in writing, you come out in music, it could, but it's just being able to use your imagination, not clamper it or limit it, but allow your imagination to go wild, to go free. So that's essentially what creativity is. So when you combine, your passion, what you want to get done, the economics, which is it being profitable to you, and creativity, which is searching inward, going deep and seeing that thing that will make sense, that would make a difference, and bringing it out. That's essentially what we're talking about today. So this, I think you should just capture this page, because this is the last of the theory we will be looking at. From henceforth, we'll be talking absolute practical. I just wanted to give this baseline so that we can move forward. So it's a process. It's essentially a process of passion. I don't think there's anything else, that holds you up all through the difficult, challenging, all sorts of experiences that you have, because the truth is, okay. Okay, so I don't know if you can still hear me. My slide went off, so I don't know. I'll just go ahead. Okay, so it's a process of passion. Passion has been something that continues to sustain and ensure that we continue to move forward, continue to advance, however little the advancement might be. So this session is expected to be absolutely practical. We'll be looking at, sorry, please, this is the really important part. I don't know, I'd like someone to confirm that you can hear me.
It's going
Hello?
on and off. We can hear you, but
okay,
it's going on and off. It's going on and off.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see my video? Can you see my video?
Yes.
Or just the slide?
You can see your slide.
Okay, you can see my slide. Okay, let me check. Right. Okay, video is there as well. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's go ahead. Now, first things first, I'd like to establish is that I'm a rule breaker. That means that I usually break the rules. I'm not usually the person that follows all the rules and does everything right. Because some of us here might look, oh, I'm not perfect. I don't have it all figured out. Well, I'm like that too. I don't have it all figured out. I don't come in as the smartest person in the room. I do not try to appear, or come across as very confident. I don't try to do that, and of course, the elephant in the room, I do not, in as much as I agree completely with the fact that the way you dress is the way you should be addressed. I don't always follow it. In other words, I come to places sometimes and I do not have the full packaging or the full dress or the full apparel or the awesome look, that you would want, or whoever it is I'm talking to will. But there's one thing I believe. I believe that we should all be solid on content. As much as possible, I do not joke with personal development. That's developing yourself in your area of expertise. I like to fill myself to the brim, to be sure that in terms of in my area of expertise, I'm as good as it gets. So as much as possible, I believe in content, not necessarily in packaging. Now, packaging is good. It always works, so I agree with it 100%. All the folks that have talked about packaging are not wrong, so don't get me wrong. But I believe in content, that which, that you are and what you've been able to learn, not just in terms of, in your professional work, but also in terms of character. I'll get to that point, but then I need to establish this fact that it's important that we don't try to portray what we are not. I think that our originality is important in our journey. The fact that we come as we are, and whatever it is that we're presenting is the real stuff. It's the real stuff. The me Pastor Kemi knew 20 years ago is still me. I haven't changed. You understand? We need to stay original, and so it's key, so many times it breaks the rules because I just come real, I just say it as it is, but then, it just takes you a few moments to realize that this is the real stuff, and so first things first, we cannot go anywhere, with passion or with the economics or anything for that matter, without knowing where we are going. So one thing needs to be clear with us, with everyone, even whatever stage that we find ourselves, is the dream. It's what's the vision? What exactly are we chasing after here? Because you can't wake up in the morning and not be chasing after anything. There's nothing more flat. There's nothing flatter than that. Just waking up in the morning, and it's not something that that drives you. You wake up in the morning and you're like, what's the next step? It's because it's a journey. It's a book of chapters. So you have that. So you wake up in the morning knowing that, okay, now this is what I'm going to execute that takes me to the next level. If you don't have that, then it's you just like everybody else, I guess. If that's who everybody else is. But the thing is, the dream, the vision, what exactly do you want to achieve? Way back, it was clear. It kind of impacts the kind of stories I wanted to tell, You know, I may not have been able to be as specific as knowing that it was going to be animation, you know, or it was going to be documentaries or something, you know, but I knew I wanted to tell stories, you know, and I was willing to get the skill, you know, all that was necessary to be able to go that route, you know, to be able to, you know, because you can't dream something and not be price, you know, be ready to pay the price, you know, and so essentially, you know, once it's clear, it doesn't have to be 100% clear, but you just need to have something that, you know, you are holding, you know, just like you're in a race and you have a baton. So you know that, yes, this is what I'm holding and this is what I'm passing, you know, so there's something definite. So there needs to be that clarity. Irrespective, you need to know, okay, I want to sing. And then, so you have that singular, like, okay, I want to sing and I want my music to go all over the world. Is a goal. You know, it's a vision that, yes, I want to sing, I want to inspire people all over the world, I want to entertain them. You know, now that's a dream, that's a vision, that's something that, now the question is how, you know, how are you going to do it? Everybody has different hows, you know, how it's going to happen and all that. And so obviously the first and the clearest thing is the fact that we need skills. We need to have the skills, you know, professional and character-based skills. Most of the time, we concentrate too much on the, it's not too much, but sometimes it's overdone towards the professional, and then we drop the character-based one. And that's why I actually specified it in the slide, that as we build our professional skills, that's, for example, if one is going into music, you know, or like me that went into filmmaking. And so I learned editing, I learned cinematography, I learned, you know, virtually how to tell stories, how to write scripts, you know, how to do VFX, coloring, you know, the various aspects, sound, you know, how to edit and all that. These were things that, as at that time, it may not be that, you don't have to learn everything now because there are a lot of people now that, you know, form part of the team. But when I started, I didn't have all those people. So I had to more or less learn all of the aspects of this, the skills required. And so as you learn professionally, you also learn, you know, the character. The truth is, if you, as you rise the cadre and you haven't built character, you won't, the truth is that you won't last. You know, none of us will last without character. You know, you cannot overestimate humility. You know, and humility is intentional. You don't think that it's natural that somebody is humble. It's something that we work on, that we keep our heads down, irrespective, you know, call us to anywhere in the world. You know, we keep our heads down because we know that we are what we are by the grace of God. No more. It's God's grace. Yes, we do the work, but it's grace that keeps us. So character is important. Character, obviously, character also involves commitment, consistency. You can't take anything. I think as we go down the line, we really understand what consistency and being committed and being diligent and being disciplined. You know, all of these things are things that, you know, you have to keep putting them together because it's not necessarily natural. With time, obviously, it becomes part and parcel, but then it's something that you have to be intentional about. Of course, in the journey, you can never overestimate what people bring in. You know, what do I mean by people? The people you meet, the people that work with you, the people that teach you, the people that encourage you, sometimes the people that discourage you, you know, but whatever it might be, you know, whatever roles they might play, people are critical. Sometimes you feel that somebody is part of your past and not necessarily part of your future. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes people will be part of your past and then they will show up in your future. People play a critical role. Sometimes somebody may appear right now as somebody that's younger than you that you're teaching. Now, tables can turn and the person becomes the person that would need to help you. So people are key. you know, and it's important. Yes, there may be a lot of people in Nigeria, and it's a really crowded nation. But I tell you, every individual is valuable. Everyone you come across, they play an important role in your journey. So as young people, whatever ages we are right now, it's important that, you know, start valuing people. You know, it's, for me, the most valuable resource, if you call people resource, you know, are people. People, there's nothing more beautiful than having met somebody 15 years ago and still be able to call them today, you know, and say, there's this thing I want to run, or I know that you know about this stuff, you know, and you can easily connect, because people that knew you 15 years ago know you better than people that knew you 6 months ago. You know, there's a lot of difference there. So people are important. And of course, you know, the difficult choices. Now, what I wanted to talk about in terms of difficult choices is the fact that sometimes you come to a crossroad in life where you have to choose, you know, you have to make a choice. For me, yes, it was clear to me that I wanted to be a filmmaker. I wanted to make films, you know, irrespective of whatever people thought about it. I wanted to make films. Now the question was, it came at a point, what kind of films do I want to make? Yet at this point that I had to make this choice, I had already won awards in documentary, you understand? And then I had won awards in animation, you know, and I really had to sit down and say, you know, where does, you know, my niche, because it wasn't an issue of strength. Now, because I was strong, whichever filmmaking, if we're going to make a film, you know, you can call me anytime. You know, I really do love to make films, you know, but then at this point, I had to look at what my advantages and disadvantages were, you know, and, you know, so that's difficult choice, you know, the difficult choice of having to choose between what I needed to focus on at that particular point in time, you know, is something that we will all face in the journey. And so here comes the pain. You know, it cannot be, you know, we can't escape this one. You know, yes, we can be all positive, you know, and we can all be like, like excited about, you know, what the possibilities are, you know. However, you know, it's important that we recognize that there will be challenges, you know, there will be situations that will try to stop us and ensure that we're not making the advancements, you know, that we ought to. And so I remember that when I think way back, I remember when there was this period, you know, you know, that after I got married and, you know, the children were still small, it was even before I started having, you know, I had my first child and second child, it was a real difficult period, you know, and as much as possible, it's important that that period, you know, we're able to find some form of decorum, if decorum is the word. It was because for me, it was a time I faced depression, because I felt that was one period I was not progressing. That was what I thought, that I wasn't quite progressing when, you know, the children were small, because I had to be a full-time mom. You know, I had to leave everything else that I was doing. And for about 5 years, I didn't do anything like film and all that. I had to focus on the children. You know, it was an understanding that it was because life really is in phases. And that was the beauty of that time. You know, because this particularly, you know, and that's what I said, the female factor, you know, because yes, as ladies, yes, there are certain things that seem like they limit, you know, and could form something that can stop you if you do not have, if you are not properly armed. So this is a good time to arm yourself for times of depression. Both ladies and guys do have their depressive moments, but because depression comes, when things are not working, when things are not moving forward. And so we need to be able to find a way to deal with it, and so that's where passion always seems to come back. In fact, passion is more important at this time, at the time where we face depression and things are difficult and nothing is working. Because don't forget, the dream is still valid. The dream is valid. The vision is valid. You have the skills, you have people, you've made the right choices, but the challenges will come. And those times are times that passion really begins, it becomes that underlying factor that keeps you going. And so, all of this, you have obstacles, and there are, of course, challenges, like I said. So in spite of the obstacles, standing in one's way, and because after that period, obviously I was able to pick up, from, the times, and the children, started growing, and all. And then it's also at the same time that I was able to establish that, okay, yes, I started making some animation sequences and stuff like that, working on some other.
trendybeats.com.
Give me Stasis 21 DJ Dead. Yeah.
Okay, welcome back. All right, okay. Sorry, I just went offline. I don't know what happened. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. I don't know, it just went off. So I'm bringing back, I don't know, I don't think it's necessary though. Don't worry about the slide. Let me just go on the slide. Yeah, let's do this. Let's go. Okay, all right, so let me just state this. Okay, all right. So let me just avoid the slide so that I can see what's going on. Okay, so so it's really beyond all that we have said. I think it's who can. Okay, all right. Sorry, I have something on my screen. Okay, so it's essentially about getting things done. At the end of the day, when we talk about passion, and the vision that we have and what we're trying to achieve, and then our dreams and all, You know, at the end of the day, it's really like, you know, us getting things done. Here, I don't know, we talk about a lot of things. You know, we say these are the things we want to do, you know, and we say, oh, I have this idea and all that. And to be honest, what makes the difference between the people that make it happen, you know, and the people that are, okay, I can, no, don't worry, I don't want to share. No, don't worry. I don't need to share it anymore. You know, most people must have seen what is on it. You know, so it's essentially about us getting things done, and the real difference is between those, you know, that eventually stand out or do something special is, you know, talking about it and doing it. So it's important, you know, I really, what makes the difference? What would make the difference, you know, between us now and probably some 5 years time or 10 years time is us getting those things done, you know, actually getting them done, not talking about it. You have ideas, let's put step by step, which leads us to the next thing, which is strategy. You know, when we have to get things done, we need to be strategic about it. For me, 2021, 2022, you know, has been quite strategic. The moment I figured out that we had started getting things done, we just had to pick up on the strategy. You know, I'll share some of the things that we've been able to do so that, you know, so that it's not looking like, oh, she's just saying, no, this real stuff, this real life, this happened. You know, for me, some of the things that's happened in the last 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, and it's like, wake me up, you know, how did it happen? You understand? Is this real? You know, but the truth of the matter is that it did happen, but and not without strategic planning. You know, in other words, as you work, so it's not just you getting things done. Okay, I woke up this morning, I was able to do this, wash my clothes, you know, and all that, you know, clean the whole place, you understand, shoot a couple of shots, maybe you're doing content, you're creating content right now, you know, and then so you do some videos. No, it's not just about doing the videos. It's about being strategic. You know, what ways can you get the advantage? I'll use myself as an example and I'll tell you what I did. You know, 2021, thereabout, you know, we had just won Best Animation at the Short Film Festivals, one of the medium festivals, film festivals in Lagos. And it's, for you to get Best Animation in Short, it's really huge. It's good. It just shows something is coming up and it's doing well, you know. And we looked at it. Okay, yes, you know, it shows now what it told me, you know, and because you need to hear the message that you're getting with, you know, with strategy comes feedback. You need to get feedback on what you're doing. Whatever it is that you're doing, you're writing, you need feedback. You need to be able to put it through the fire. What happens when you put your writing through the fire, your music? When it goes through stuff, it gets to people that are difficult. What happens? So this is essentially what happened. We put it in short. It got Best Animation. It told me that there is hope. Stop motion is, you know, because there was the school of thought, are you sure they're going to accept it in Nigeria? They don't do stop motion in Nigeria. Who does it? Nobody. I'm just trying to see. It's just now that I'm beginning to see a couple of people trying to do something. But when I started, I didn't know anybody that was doing stop motion animation. And maybe I should explain what stop motion animation is. If you look behind me, you know, that's like physical. You know, we make like 3D animation that's done digitally, you know, where we use digital stuff. Here we use absolutely physical. Our characters are physical, our puppets are physical, the sets are physical, the props are physical, everything. And so you use it to tell stories. So, you know, normally you tell stories with characters, you know, in a world and all that. And so that's essentially what it was. And it was like, oh, they were not going to accept it in Nigeria. It's not going to work. Who does it? You know, and all that. Those were the initial challenges that we had. You know, so it looked like, oh, okay, maybe it isn't going to work. You know, but then we tried it. We needed to test it. You can't take people's word for it, because for the most vast majority around me, they just felt I was wasting my time. That's the truth. You know, the vast majority around me, very few people connected. You know, to say few is actually a very big word, you know, to count the quantity of people that really did believe or thought that it made sense. They didn't think it did make sense. They felt that, okay, my filmmaking, fine, engineer turned filmmaker, acceptable, manageable. You know, it wasn't good enough, but then fine. filmmaking. We know that some people are doing well with filmmaking, Kule Afalayan, Kemi Gbadamosi and all that. Yeah, so it looks like a viable path. But so much who is doing it? You understand? It looks funny. It just looks like an adult playing with toys, that kind of thing. But then, it was something that I enjoyed, which always takes us back to passion. It was something that I was passionate about, and I just put my heart into it, and went ahead. We made the film, submitted, and then it won Best Animation. For I don't know who submitted films in film festivals before, but if we have a bit of understanding of it, it's a big deal. And then from 2022, we said, oh, okay, so that means that this has hope, so we need to put in more. So we decided to make more IPs. That's like have more stories properly packaged, So I gained a bit more skill in that area, learned how to pitch, sort of pitch your idea and all that. So I did a few classes there, thank God, some of them were open opportunities, and all that. And then just learned a bit, about how to pitch your idea. And so 2022 was all about pitching, going into various what do you call it? Open calls, all these opportunities that they post online and all that to pitch the ideas that we have. Also, we also made sure that we continue to develop the animation that we had. So initially, I was using toys and already made objects. Now, in 2022, we advanced. We said we're going to be making our puppets from scratch. And honestly, between making our puppets from scratch and going for open call opportunities to pitch our ideas, honestly, that was where things began to explode. The strategy of ensuring that we developed, and it's still what we're doing now. Right now we're making further advancements, but that particular advancement at first quarter 2022 made a big difference. We went in for, there was this Annecy French festival, that's the biggest animation festival in the world. There was a competition in Nigeria where they were going to select, a filmmaker that is an animation filmmaker that, that would represent Nigeria in France. Honestly, I put in for that competition, just, my pitch and all that. Eventually, we went through the selection process, we were selected, we were 5. Honestly, all of the projects were good. One thing I knew was that I wasn't aiming as such to win, but I was aiming to do my very best. And that's what I did. I did my best. And that best won, and that's how we won. But it wasn't just Annecy. Yes, I was at Annecy, and Annecy obviously opened another, it was something else entirely. It was, if your thoughts are based on what's happening in Nigeria, being at the biggest animation festival in the world changes that, because now you meet the biggest players in the world. You meet people that, DreamWorks, Disney, Adman, people in the end of the lines, just the ones I met, we had meetings, we talked, we discussed how we can move things forward. They looked at my projects. Some were like, oh yeah, we would like this one. Some were like, not our style, but all that, so, and that was Annecy, but it wasn't just Annecy. After that, we had DFM, we had DLA, DFM being like the biggest film market in Africa. CTIA is like the biggest animation festival in Africa, and so it was just where our projects continued to be selected in all of these international festivals. Obviously, we still needed to build our home base, so we continued with our strategy. We did not allow all the international, all the things happening. Note all of these international things. It wasn't my £1 that paid. It was fully sponsored. Fully sponsored like that. The same thing has happened. This year as well. You just have bookings. International invitations and all that. Where you don't get to pay your money. For it. It's just. So that's why, for you to get unique results, you probably have to make unique choices as well. And so that strategy we kept on, we did, so we decided to submit to local festivals as well, because we needed to build, a platform from ground up. We couldn't have an international, all of that, and not have a local base. So we decided to submit to the biggest festivals in Africa, to AMA, that's the African Movie Awards. You understand? Afrif, the Africans, we need, so now it's funny because when we were working on it, it was like wearing done, but Afrif was going to close. So what we did was, okay, we tried to put ourselves together and submit. So we submitted Afrif and AMA, and then we submitted Life Anima. Life Anima being like one of the biggest animation festival, you know, like second biggest in Africa after CTIF, which we had already been, you know. So it's, so now this was, we were nominated in all of them. Our stop motion film, you imagine, you know, we were nominated in all of them. Was I expecting it? No, I was not. You know, all we just did was, we were strategic, we wanted to make sure that we kept testing what we had. Was it good enough? You know, was it something that was going to, it's going to be sustained? And so we nominated in all of them. We won Life Anima, you know, we didn't win AMA and Afrif, but a nomination in AMA and Afrif is huge for any filmmaker, whatever kind of film that you're making. You know, now the more interesting part was that I was on the panels. I was on the panel in Life Anima. I was also on the panels, you know, in Afrif. Afrif is, you know, you look forward to the panels. I was on 2 in Afrif. I came in with the French guys, you know, the French guys, and I also came in with the animators. You know, now this was big exposure for stop motion. It wasn't just about me, but stop motion. I needed to also move. It was also part of the strategy to ensure that we move things forward. So if you'd see that it's not just about us creating content. It's about looking for ways to ensure that at the end of the day, we're able to make advancement with it. You know, we also, like, for example, the Biennale, that's like one of the 5 biggest film festivals, not animation festivals now, biggest film festivals in the world. They call them the Big 5. You have Sundance, you have Venice, you have Biennale, you know, you have Toronto, you know, there are 5 of them, you know, and so any filmmaker that knows his onions, you know, knows that, look, you need to keep an eye. You have Tribeca, you have, yes, you need to keep an eye on these festivals. When the application for Biennale came, I took it. You know, probably if I've gone through the details that you have to have a body of work and all that, yes, it's not like we don't have a body of work, but I didn't think it was a body of work, you know, because we've done maybe like 4 or 5 films, you know, but then I didn't think, I saw, you know, and we're selected out of, you know, the thousands of people, you know, all over the world, because it's not just about Africa or Nigeria, you know, but we're selected for Biennale. Biennale comes up in February, you know, and so the point about it is that it's just being able to strategically place yourself, you know, and so it just keeps moving you and advancing you. Have a product, have something you are pushing, have something that wakes you up in the morning, you know. So in spite of Biennale, we are working on Puff Puff. Puff Puff is the current project we're working on, you understand? And it's us advancing the process. Yes, we now create our puppets ourselves, but our puppets don't look like the international ones exactly like them. So we want to be able to match them, what we see internationally, look, by the very best studios. And so that's what we are aiming for in this first quarter. You know, and so we're looking at, oh, okay, so we had to pitch, you know, because we didn't have the funds to get the equipment. So I had to also pitch. I pitched to Access Bank. You know, we want quite a bit of funds, you know, so we've been able to buy all, at least probably like 90-something%, you know, if there's anything like that, you know, of the equipment we need. You know, we also part of the the US embassy, that's the US missions. They did a competition, animation competition recently, you understand? And, you know, people were winning like $5,000. So we won that as well. So we just, you know, have a combination of things that we have won, you know, and then we've been get equipment, equip ourselves and all that, get materials. So we recently just buying materials for what we want to do. So we can advance the process of what we are doing, so that we're not just stopping, you know. Yes, the accolades, the recognition, you understand. Somebody told me when I was at RenderCon, because I was on the panel of RenderCon, you know, it's also an animation festival in Nigeria. And it was like, look, Kemi, are you sure that, you know, there's anything again, you understand, you can achieve in Nigeria? Because you've gone around, you understand, there's nothing more in Nigeria for you, you understand? And, you know, and this is just in the course of how many months, so probably a year plus, you understand? You know, there's not, but the point is, I don't see it that way. I realize that we still have a goal. We want to be able to, we have a global goal to ensure that what we have matches the very best, the Admans, the Leicas of this world, you know. And so we have the material, you know, and we just want to be able to put it together, you know, at this point. So we have a short film, I think just about 3 minutes, you know, and then, you know, put all of this in practice, at least to start with, and then we advance further. You know, now, because as we talk to these international studios, because I've had quite a bit of conversation with them, you know, some of these, you know, most of the time you're not allowed to talk about the details, so I can't, you know, and I can't mention names, you know, and all. But then the truth is this: when we have conversations, you know, if your work is making sense, you don't appear like the one that is appealing. You understand? You become like a partner. When you talk, you also have your own points. You know, there's a number of you know, like biggest guys in Nigeria right now that we're trying to do some collaborations. We're not collaborating like as if I'm the one trying to, you know, we're talking. You're like, okay, this is what I want, and that's what you want. But at the end of the day, it's your work that speaks. You understand? It's your work, it's the quality of your work, it's the advancement of your work that speaks. So as much as possible, let's try as much as possible to get things done. You know, once we set our steps, and you know, and it's beginning to come together, let's be strategic about it. Let's not just allow things. Don't allow the, please, you know, there's one thing people always ask me: what about the economics of Nigeria? You understand? You know, don't think about it. Get things done. You know, and the truth is this: the money comes after. You understand? As the results coming. You understand? I don't chase the money. You know, it somehow this year, you know, it's not been about, it's about getting those things done. Because for me, I find fulfillment, you know, in getting the work done, you know, getting the results that we seek. You know, if we want, you know, to be able to tell stories, our African stories, taking it to the world, you know, we watch films like Finding Nemo, Lion King, Ice Age, all of these films. And I look at every day, I think, oh, we can have our films at this level, you know, at this level, you know, where we have more African films. We don't have African animation at that level, you know, but we have to position ourselves for it. And we need to begin to have discussions in that light. And it's something that we have already triggered at this point, you know, so it's just, you know, it's just for the sake of the fact that I may not be able to give too many details about certain things. But the truth is this, you know, the work, the way you're going is clear, you know, and that's why decision is practical. You know, I may not have so many definitions to give, but once where you're going is clear, you know, and you can thoroughly, you know, break it down into steps, be original at every point in time. Don't come out as fake or try to form what we are not, you know, it will be wrong. You know, it doesn't even help in the long run. You know, whatever your advantages or disadvantages, accept them, be the very best you can be. Don't allow depression to stop you. Remain, passion is not being excited today and then not being excited about what you want. Even in your most depressed state, it needs to be, you need to be as, you know, your vision still needs to be your vision, if I should put it that way. You know, you need to just I still want to make progress on this stuff. You know, even if I have to crawl, you know, so because I think usually there are less good days, you know, in the journey, the good days, you know, it's sad that I have to say that to young people, but there are a lot of days that are not good. You know, there are a lot, in all of this, in all of the things that we've won, you know, we also have things that we did not win, you know, but it doesn't stop the advancement. And the fact that a typical example is I put in the project to Nickelodeon because I wanted our film to be there, you know, our series and all that. Obviously, Nickelodeon had this very nice letter sent to me, you know, telling me that, you know, our project was awesome and all that, but they had to choose projects from all over the world, you know, and by the time they got to like the top 15 and they had to pick the top 10, they couldn't pick our project. Our project didn't make top 10. You know, when I saw it, you know, I felt kind of like, oh, okay, you know, but guess what? My thoughts are, oh, we improved the project. By the time we're sending it next, you know, or we're sending it again. In fact, I've actually sent it somewhere else now. You understand? You know, so we continue to improve the project. You know, so you don't take disappointment as because it will come. Don't take disappointment as a bad thing. We become stronger. We become stronger with it. Every disappointment becomes a strength. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. So every disappointment becomes a strength, more or less, and becomes a blessing in that sense. So I just want to tell us that at the end of the day, where we started from was that we wanted to be able to make impact. And I see that the impact we wanted to make, even though it's been films and us doing projects and all that, I've always wanted to make impact in the way of being able to influence people and encourage them, to do the stuff that God has put on the inside of them, and I have tried in my own way to do it, but I discovered that with the work that we're doing, we even had a much bigger platform to do it, a much more, like all over the world, and and not saying it like trying to amplify things, but then yes, we've had that to be able to talk to people. I've from last year, I've had several speaking bookings, that I've started becoming careful, about, okay, you want to talk to these people, talk to that people, talk to those people and all. Even in February, that, it's really very funny. I still have quite a number of bookings in February, that I'm really like careful about, so that it doesn't mix up with some other things that I need to do in February. So it's essentially, so at the end of the day, what you do triggers also the impact, as in your impact leverages on it. So as much as possible, please, if we don't remember anything I have said, it's important that as we make plans and we have dreams, let's ensure that we keep moving decisively, with discipline. Let's appreciate people, let's keep relationships. Let's let the passion never die. Let's enjoy the challenges, enjoy every moment of them. Let's be a blessing. Let's impact others as well. Let's just not put it to ourselves, but ensure that at the end of the day, we see it through. In the small parts of the project, let's finish them. The big parts, let's finish them. Let's be committed, consistent all through. Yes, consistency, please. Let's not jump from one thing to the other. I think it's a killer. The fact that yes, you have a lot of ideas and all that. If you have a lot, if you can't, there's no way to bring all of them together. For me, stop motion is one way of bringing a lot of my capacities together. But if there's no way to bring, please just pick one. Pick one and follow. Pick something, but don't be here. I feed all of them, they move at the same time. It's not practical, doesn't work in the long run, doesn't take it very far. It takes a lot of energy from you. So as much as well, let's keep on keeping on. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Yes. So thank you very much. I don't know if I've been able to expound my time, and if people can still hear me, that kind of thing. But that's essentially what it is. That's some open for questions.
Thank you so very much, Kemi. We have talked so much, and one can really see you on fire in the call. There's so much that when I was talking instead of having been.
Thank you.
And sincerely, you told us what you wanted to achieve. Maybe I knew some of them because of the relationship that we had. But I'd like you to tell the young ones, the practitioners. By the way, I can safely say that I have a number of practitioners on this platform. Your own Aya Gishape is on this platform. I know Dr. Mrs. Oluchi Village is listening in all the way from Netherlands. So many more like that. I also know that students of BLISS College, I mean, they are in a group and they are with you there. So what do you let us know? So how do you take all of this step by step? how do you envision and how do you begin to work towards these ideas?
Okay. What your question was, that how do I take it step by step? What do you mean when I'm sorry, I didn't get that. You know, how do I take what step by step?
You have an idea, you want to do something, and how do you go about it? Step by step. Is that
Okay. I think I get it now. Okay, so you have an idea, and then how do we take it step by step? I think I can use an example, you know, of having an idea, and then how we get it fully executed. Okay, so like for films, you know, all films start with an idea, you know. So it's if you don't have an idea, you can't make a film, you know. So all films starts with a simple idea, a simple what you want to do and what you the story you want to tell. And so if I understand the question, Kelly, it means that you know, once you have an idea, how do you take it from step by step? Of course, the first thing is obviously to develop the idea, ensuring that the idea is viable. That's what I would do anyway. You know, I'm trying to ensure that it's viable because I have lots of ideas and at different times. You know, sometimes you wake up, you have an idea and all that. So, but you obviously can't push every idea. And so it's the ideas that have viability. And then, of course, I must also state that when I have ideas, I pray about them. You know, I you know, try to know what, you know, God is saying in my heart, you know, what my heart is saying about it, if it's something that I need. Because the truth is that idea is the critical thing. It's like, you know, it's the foundation of everything. So it's that idea. The idea must be big first with you before you begin to travel the journey of going with the idea. So, you know, just like the idea of Puff Puff that we have, you know, I've had it for a few months, the film that we're working on at the moment for this January. I've had it for a few months, you know, that I've been, you know, talking about it, talking about it to a couple of people. I've told quite a number of people the story, you know, and all that. So it's something that I've thought about, you know, and every time I'm talking about it, I'm excited. I've been excited about it for a while, you know. Okay, to your passion, what? Okay, this is another question. All right, you know, so you know, so in terms of talking about it and all, you know, so it must be expanded. And so from idea, once it's properly, you know, it's properly seated, you know, you're sure that this is next, this is what I want to do now, you know, not in competition with so many other things that are, you know, in the same line of competition. I'm not saying that you can't do any other thing apart from the idea, but you know, that idea has its space and okay, all right, okay. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. So once, okay, I don't know if what I said before was heard, so I'll just say it again. So once you have a clear picture of what the idea is and you seem to be excited about it, or you are excited about it, the next would be to put it in, to break it down into like, okay, these are the goals, and then further break it down into steps. For example, for our films, we know that if, for example, we're going to do Puff Puff in January, we need to have goals. So our goals are basically broken down into, okay, the puppets. We have the kind of puppets we've discussed what kind of puppets we want to make. We've discussed what, you know, we have different options for the puppets. So we've decided on what exactly we're aiming for the puppets. We've decided what we're aiming for, what kind of sets, what style are we going for, all that. So we've defined all of those things. So those are goals. And then every day we have steps what are the steps of advancement that we can make? Like right as I'm speaking, we are walking, so it's not, if I show you other sides of the studio, if I'm allowed to do that, you could see that people are working on sets right now beside me, like that, possible to follow a particular path. Yes. Okay, sorry, I just was reading something, so yes, the work is going on, so it's not like we stop. When I get home, because I'm also doing the puppets and all that, I could just continue when I have a bit of space, whenever I have space, I just work. It's because something I enjoy, it's a lifestyle, that's what it is, so with that, we just take little steps. Some steps come in, that you don't anticipate in the beginning, but you have all the steps. The steps are easier to take because they're smaller chunks of actions, buy this and add it, and all that, things that can make things easier and all that. So those are things. So essentially, once you break it down into steps, then, it takes, yes, I understand the place of discipline in execution, that, as you're disciplined, but there's a bit more than discipline that's involved in this, and that's where, I don't know if I could call it the love or the passion, but it's something that pulls you towards what you're doing. And so it's even beyond discipline. When I sit down, with what I do, with the puppets and the sets, filmmaking, cameras and all that, I sort of, there's this excitement I feel. And so it's even when everything is not making sense and all the things I planned didn't work out, and I'm not making giant strides as I would expect, I can still work and just make a very tiny movement for that day or for that week, just knowing that, okay, yes, this set looks better. We've been gotten some nice paints to be able to put some organic dirt on it. But then it's if that's all we've been able to, we've moved forward, and we've made advancement. And so it's the execution. It just needs to continue. We need to finish. It's important we finish. And once we finish, the beautiful thing now in the world today is that in those days when we first started, if you finished a video, you probably want to book time with the TV station. I remember then OSRC, those states, and see whether you could get time to put your stuff on it, which was not something that was, feasible at that point. But now, your WhatsApp status, Instagram, Facebook, and all that, and LinkedIn. And the amazing thing is this, it's not really about the number of likes. Let's not get it wrong. For me, I'm not bothered about if I see only 2 likes. You see, the question is, who are those 2 likes? I don't need likes. Likes doesn't put money in your pocket. You understand? It's not the kind of likes there was something I posted a few weeks ago, or maybe a month. The vice president of Disney reposted it. Now the effect of that, it was that I now have a new set of people that I'm talking to, because of that repost. How many people like that post? I don't know. I'm not sure it's up to 20. You understand? But because it's not. So guys, don't get it wrong. It's not. Because people miss a lot of things. I think, oh, okay, if I have 500 likes, it's a successful post. No. You see, one of the amazing things is that there are people watching you. The people that are watching you with interest and want to work with you, they may not like or comment on your posts. But by all means, post reasonably, post intelligently, put your character in your posts. Don't just post and say, feeling good. You understand a post? No, you understand? If you have stuff to deliver, put it in the post. If you check out my post, you'd see, I take time to talk about what I'm posting. So it tells, oh, okay, this person is cerebral, this person is thinking, it's not all of the pure water people on the way, if you understand what I mean. You understand that everybody else, so it's because you do not know it each time. And when I got a repost And then some people just like a post. They one day they just contact you, and they, sorry, please, we would like to organize, a meeting and all that. And that's the next thing. You're having meetings not with Nigerians, and not with Africans, but people way out, just because of what you post on LinkedIn or Instagram, But it needs to be smart stuff. Don't worry about, 2,000 likes. No, it's who the people are that really counts, and the people that you target. Because, who can talk about entrepreneurship without targets? You understand? You target your target customer, your target client. So once you're able to put all of your stuff together and you have material, you target, who wants to see this? Who needs this? Like for me, what I make is not targeted towards Nigerians, at least not today. You understand? Nigerians can't afford it. You understand? It's not something it's not yet, not for the Nigerian market. You understand? I recognize very clearly that it is for the international market. So trying to make Nigerians like it, they will just say things, that I might not even like, that kind of thing. And all. So it's which doesn't even matter anyway. But then the idea is that you go for your target, and you sell them value. You're not going for them to appeal so that they can help you as an African, that we are Africans, we need help. No, we don't need help. We are creative. You understand? We have stuff, we have our stuff, So when you see our stuff, you have an opportunity to be a part of something that, can really change lives. So I think that the steps have been really simplified by technology, and we just need to be able to put ourselves together. There's nothing really complex about this, if we just put ourselves together and get things done.
Okay. There are two questions in the chat box. I'd like for you to address them. Then I perceive from 1 or 2, 3 people who want to ask questions live. So when you're done with the work on the chat box, then we'll take the live question. Thank you.
Okay. So I have on the chat box here, I have, let me see. I have, thank you, Okay, so the question here is, in terms of seeking with your passion, what of when the passion isn't paying the bills, especially in the beginning phase, considering the pressure to be visibly successful on the family and society front? Okay, so what if what you're doing is not paying the bills? Okay. The question is, how much do you want your passion to come to pass? How much do you want it to come to reality eventually is the question. Yes, we can have 5,000 excuses, and we will have them, on why we should not pursue, and ensure that we push it. Because the very question, is a question, I think for me, it's the question of my life, to be honest, because it's for a long time, you find out that it's not, it's for when, I don't know any business that becomes profitable the moment you start. The first things first, if you're a farmer, for example, you don't, as a farmer, you don't harvest on the day you plant. You understand? If you do that, then there's something wrong. You plant, you wait for a season, you water, you nurture, and then you harvest subsequently if everything went well. So even harvesting is not even sure, in that sense. But then the truth is that it's process. You have to go through process. Now, if you ask that question to a farmer, that same question, that what if it's the seeds are not paying the bills? Do seeds pay the bills? No, they don't. It's usually a time, it's for the children of Israel, it was called the wilderness experience. When they were in the wilderness, the wilderness is not the promised land, it's the wilderness. And so it's a period where you pay. It's not funny, you prepare for it, it's good for you to prepare for it. And honestly, I tell you, if you're going higher, as in going far, that means your process also will be probably tougher than for somebody that's not really going, so it's tough, but guess what? It's also fun, because it makes you stronger. I say it's fun. Well, it may not appear fun when you're inside, but then the truth of the matter is that it makes you stronger. That's where you build character, you build capacity. You become a better person. In that process, in that period where everybody is telling you that what you're doing is not paying, and then you have to look good. See, why must you look good for people? We don't live for people. At the end of the people will have what. I had more than enough, when I started filmmaking in the first place. I remember that when I started filmmaking, people would call me cameraman and all that. I wasn't upset. I just enjoyed this process. They called me all sorts, just like after going to school and coming out, you expect that you should work in, nice white collar experience and things like that. But it wasn't like that. And that wasn't what my goals were, until our film won the first international award. People still thought that, I was just parading up and down with the camera, that kind of thing. They were like, hey, kidding me, serious, you understand? Or this thing is really serious, that kind of thing, and then as years go by and we continue to make advancements, no, they're not saying the same thing anymore. Nobody's saying the same thing. So when you're going through process, I think the last thing you want to worry about is what people are saying or what people are thinking. You just need to, that's where the focus and the passion. In fact, that's why one of the reasons why you need passion, because it's not ordinary. Many people can't go past it. So they are all concerned. Oh, okay, what is it? I need to look fine. I need to look successful. I've never tried to, it's never something that ever bothered me. And that's truly honest and sincere, for all those that have known me very long, no zero packaging, I don't do it. So I try to come across as probably, more successful than I am, or anything, we come simply as we are. The truth is this, the real impact we make is when we come original. I'm just trying to do it. And it's something we do intentionally. So let me go to the next question. Sorry, so that I don't take too much time on that question. So but I hope I've been able to answer it. Don't worry about what people are saying. It's the last thing you need. It just stands in the way. That's the truth. It stands in the way when we think about what people say. And the less we can think about what people say, the better for us. Because it just helps us advance whatever it is that we are doing, and we can focus. Like the example that I said. Somebody carrying a cup, with full of water, as long as the person kept looking around, the water poured. But when the person was able to focus, the water didn't pour. It's kind of like that's what we are carrying around. Okay, so next question is it possible to follow a particular passion for years and lose interest in that passion and choose another one? Yes, it is possible. It's very possible that yes, we can have a passion for years and lose interest. It is, because I can say practically that it does happen. If I've not experienced it, maybe I wouldn't have thought so, but I have. There are times you're passionate about something but guess what? This is what I noticed. I also noticed that the new passion, if it's called new, it's essentially a transformation of the previous one. Most of the time it's an upgrade. If you really look at it, it's an upgrade. It's a refined version of the previous one. If you really look at it, we don't just change from black to white, like that, sort of like, on one end of the spectrum and then suddenly change to another one, like that. Most of the time, it's always a sort of metamorphosis, if that's the word, of what was before. For example, I enjoyed, certain sort of film, and then I felt, oh, okay, I also enjoyed this one too, but I want to give this one more attention. It's for a person to suddenly die, except it wasn't passion, because that's another thing we need to ask ourselves, if it was passion, and if it was, then it's most likely a transformation, and I think it's good for us to embrace, but it doesn't make sense for us to have lost interest in something and continue. If you've completely lost interest and you think truly, and it's not other factors like depression, what people are saying, you know, because this things also affects our frame of mind. I know how they did affect me. I know there was a particular period, you know, when I was working in stop motion, and you know, I have a team that works with me even in live action and all that. And at this point in time, nobody wanted to work in stop motion with me. They felt that this does not have there's nothing for this. There's nothing for stop motion animation. You understand? So they, you know, even people I appealed to help me, eventually they just left, you know, because they felt that, you know, it's hard. And then, you know, imagine doing something hard that doesn't have a future. You understand? You know, it wasn't worth their time, and they did leave. So at this point in time, it was just me. And, you know, all of the voices, I was hearing it very loud because it was just me sitting down, trying to make sense of what I was doing. I was working on a project, trying to finish it. But all I was like, once I finish it, I will know whether it works or it doesn't work. But if I don't finish, I'll never know. You know, so I just kept working and like that. But then, you know, it's if I'd listened, you know, if I'd listened, well, probably I wouldn't be here. You know, I would not be sharing anything right now. You know, so the listening, please let's avoid it as much as possible. You know, it's listening to things that if it advances you, fine. That's okay. All right. Okay. So it's the question is you mentioned about strategies attracting feedback. Okay, what if there isn't any feedback? Isn't there a chance that it affects the viability of that passion? What if that the only serious thing, what if that's the only serious thing I'm passionate about? Okay. Strategy attracting feedback. I don't know, you know, every strategy, you know, should in some way attract feedback. But if I just want to assume that, yes, what if there wasn't any feedback? If there wasn't any feedback, just keep on keeping on. You understand? You know, it just ensure that you're strategic about it. You know, it's if you don't have feedback or immediate feedback, as what you might, I believe you mean, you know, see, this is passion we are talking about here. And you want this passion to bring results, you know, because a passion that does not come to a fulfillment is not passionomics. You understand? Does not have economic value. The value of passion, where passion begins to have value. And I think I just really need to be clear with that. Where passion, that's for me life experience. Where passion begins to have value, it's when it comes to its, you know, a fulfillment, when it begins to fully express. So if this is what you're passionate about, feedback on, in fact, sometimes you will get negative feedback, irrespective, keep on. We've talked about positive feedback. Negative, what if it was negative? You know, you keep on, you just keep on keeping on. I think that's the whole idea. You know, passion, you know, for it to have value, you need to keep on keeping on. You know, it's don't do it blindly, be strategic about it. You know, so if you don't get feedback in one direction, then try to see if you can get feedback. Because it's not only one, you know, feedback one way. I'm sure there are always multiple ways. If I have the exact specific this, and I'll probably be able to make suggestions. But since I don't have, so let's just keep pushing it. You know, it's very important that we just keep making advancement. Okay, so next question will be okay. You mentioned, okay. So what is the name of your film brand? Okay, the name of my film brand is Radiosity Media. And we've been on way back since I met Pastor Kemi, you know, so that's like 2008, thereabouts, yes. And yes, that's the name of the film brand, Radiosity Media. All right, so we are allowed to ask questions live too. We can signify to the host if you want to. Okay, so what if your parents are stopping you from following your passion? What do you do in that case? And how do you discover your passion, and what do you do when you discover your passion? Okay, let me answer. What's your parents don't buy your passion? Okay, or they're stopping you. Okay, we should never be disobedient to parents. So I don't buy into the idea of being disobedient. You know, it's but if you have been called to do something, You know, you have been called, something is calling you inside you to do something. It's something that you're passionate about, not something that you're just trying your hands on, or it's dangerous or something like that. It's something that you know that this is my life, this is my future. This, I can pursue this, you know, for a long time to come. You know, I think it's something that you need to talk to them about. You know, you need to, there's nobody, you know, but no, nobody did. To say parents is even far. Me, nobody supported it for a while, you know, but they just knew that I kept on keeping on. You know, it wasn't, it felt to them like I was jobless, you know, that I should find something meaningful to do. Something, you know, nobody's saying, everybody's excited now. Everybody's like, wow, who could have imagined, you know, in-laws, everybody, you know, because, you know, everybody says things. It's when everybody's not saying something else that you're not like, oh, okay. So they were actually talking, you know, and all that. So different directions, way wide, you know, but then you just have to try to ensure they understand, you know, and don't forget that it's not something you do in a whole chunk or in a whole lump. You know, you do it bit by bit, you know, so it's, so the bits, people can accept the bits. People don't know that, you know, it's like you're going to, you're traveling to, let's say you're traveling to Abuja from wherever you are, you know, you don't just enter the car and get to Abuja, you know, you move from one spot to the next. So those small movements, people can accept them, you know, they may not have issues with that. You know, what you're having issues with Abuja. At some point, when you get to a particular place, they start appreciating, understanding Abuja. You know, they start, so since it's bits, you know, it's not something that you do at once, you know, but by all means, you know, if this whole class is going to make sense, this session, you know, by all means, if you want us to talk about this thing in 10 years time, you know, God willing, God keeping us, or 5 years time, whatever it is, you know, then you have to pursue. You have to make up, and there's nothing I say that can change anything. It's really what we make up our minds to do. You know, it's that personal decision that makes the difference. It's not in the volume. Even if this class was 3 minutes, you know, or this session, you know, it's that mindset that I walk away from here. I don't want to hear anything. You know, I don't like advancement, too much advanced talking. You understand? Once I make up my mind, I make up my mind that from this point, this is what I am going to do. And I follow it. So it's, if you, now he also asked that how do we discover your passion? It's usually not too difficult, you know, if you are true to yourself. You know that these are the things you like, these are the things you don't like. Usually your passion is usually somewhere there, you know, between the things you like, you really like, the things you like beautiful stories, you understand? Your passion is somewhere there. You understand? It may not be the major one, there might be something else you like more than stories, you know, then you stick with it. But naturally, your passion draws you. It does, it actually does. You know, somehow, even people will call you, people also, if you don't see what you are good at, because what you're good at also helps you. If people will see it for you. Some people say, you understand? If only you can just be a, you know, model. You know, if you can model brands, you know, why don't you go into acting? You understand? You know, these are ways, you know, and then you notice, I like acting, you know, and I'm always, you know, that kind of thing. Let me try doing monologues, you know, stuff like that. You know, so essentially, these are things that you just enjoy it, and you just, you know, every time you do it, you come alive. Every time you do it, you come alive. You know, it looks like a passion to me. You know, it's but at the end of the day, it's that thing that holds up. It holds up. Sometimes you don't discover your passion, or you don't conclude that something is your passion in one day. Sometimes it may take a few months to years to finally conclude that yes, this is what I want to pursue. But passion, I think passion is also clear. You know, something you have a strong desire for. You know, so that helps. You know, once you have a strong desire for something, you know, it also helps you to be able to point it out. Okay, so let me go to the next question. Okay, so it's been wonderful. Okay, I mean, it's been okay. How hope. Okay, yeah, who's saying this? Okay, yes, I have. Okay, all right. Okay. After a 5-year break, how did you bounce back? Okay, that's an amazing question. Okay, after a 5-year break, how did I bounce back? Wow. You know, the 5-year break was something else, I must say. I actually thought that I would not come back, you know, that I would not be able to bounce back into film and media and stuff like that, you know. So it's it was something, you know. It takes us back to passion, you know. It was more like I was starting all over again, you know, in that sense for me anyway. I felt it was, you know, events that happened that made me know I was not starting over again, that I already had a foundation of skills, a foundation of people I already knew and all that. But at that point in time, you know, I had not worked, you know. Yeah, I've been trying my hands on things, but it was just not anything serious. It wasn't like this is a career, you know, in after that 5 years. So it was more like starting over again, you know. I just sat down on my own, you know, just trying to see what I could do, you know. Just trying to see what I could do. And guess what? You know, this is where grace really, because yeah, that's another thing. If you have a passion and you'd have grace in that area, you know, you'd have one kind of grace that you don't understand, you know, in that area, that it's beyond you. Because that's another thing, you know, that it's not all that you plan. You just see doors open for you in that particular area. Because once I started, something interesting happened. A lot of young people started coming around that I did not call. You understand? A lot of young people started coming and saying, they heard that I do this. Can I teach them? You know? And I was like, no problem now. Why? You understand? And that's how I started teaching. Like, the people that I taught the people that I taught cinematography, I taught. Those that I could teach editing, I taught. Those that, you know, we did some 3D work, 3D designs and all, I taught. Those that I could teach sound editing, you know, sound mixing, you know, that have gone on to become music producers right now. You understand? I thought, you know, everything, anyone I could teach at that point in time. It was free teaching, you know, just, you know, and that was essentially how I started. I had a team, you know, so everyone that started with me, you know, I still have some of the people, you know, work with me right now. You understand? It's been 7 years plus down the line. You understand? You know, and the truth is this, and obviously quite a number have also gone to, you know, really top stuff they're doing and all that. And even with us, we have also moved in, so it's not like we've stopped, you know. But then the point is this: it's people came, and that was how it started. It just went up, you know. From there, we started producing stuff, you know. So essentially, you know, that was how it picked up, you know, after 5 years, like that. So let me see if I'm done with all the questions. Thank you. All right. Okay, so I think those are all the questions. Okay, is it possible to have multiple? Okay, have interest in mother. Yes, it's possible. It's possible to have multiple passions, you know, but focus on one, please. You know, don't focus on multiple. You know, it's possible to have multiple things you're passionate about. Let the other, think about it, pray about it. You know, look at the one that is most important to you or crucial. You know, that the one that also has probably greatest chance. I'm still very passionate about making documentaries. You know, so I think it's just, you know, just give one attention more. Okay, I'm done with the questions, sir.
Yeah, Shaffer, I think want to ask a question. Can you give him the mic, please? Hello.
Hello, hi. My Oga, is that my Oga there? You know, I just saw you now, I was like, full hand salute. You know, Ekusha. Okay.
Okay, sorry. I'm grateful I did not miss it.
Okay.
So one thing I wanted to really talk about, I've known you. Most of everything you said is true. I have known you for about 16 years now, and you are not a packaging person. I know everything you have said. And I remember that I didn't believe in stop motion for a very long time. I didn't believe in it until you made me believe in it. So how were you able to manage the home front? I think that's a very important question for me. How were you able to manage the home front? I have quite a number of contributions, but I think because as a lady, dealing with, you have to, cook, take care of your husband, your kids. How were you able to manage the home front? Very, very important.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, very good question, especially when it comes from you. We've been friends, I guess, well over 20 years, I guess. Yes, 20 years in this thing, in the run. So, in the filmmaking thing and all. And yeah, like I said earlier, God does not give you a vision without provision. It's really a journey of grace. So he makes one thing that happens is this. As when you have something that he wants you to do, he just makes the possibilities happen. Yes, home front things. Now, home front things obviously started from the point you get married and all that, because that's where it's really gets a bit more dicey and all, and so it's not just you now, and the impacts, you can't take it away from the work. You cannot. It's a major part. I'm here, I'm in the studio right now, you understand, and my son is here, he's somewhere around, he's been helping me set up things and all that, so now right from the beginning, the first 5 years and all that, like that, it was all about them, full-time mom kind of thing. I had to press pause on everything else. As they grew up, I just picked up speed as they grew older, and the thing about it is that, my husband is a creative as well, so it has also helped in sense, he's an architect and he's into designs. At the point we're doing the same things, you understand, crisscross, in animation and all, and I was helping him out with the animation end of his illustrations and stuff like that, so it's been that, so it's helped us work together. Yeah, there are times that, it doesn't, it becomes like, wow, and all, but then, somehow we get to find a way to, to talk about it and look for ways that we can make sacrifices, to ensure that we all get to move forward and all. So it's essentially, it's God's grace, it's been a lot of help as well. Many times my mom, in fact, most times, my mom has, had to support significantly, in helping out with the children, ensuring that, especially times that, one travels, and one isn't around, like that, and I go for festivals and stuff like that, it gets like that. But then you also have to ensure that, when whatever you can do, you give the best of yourself, to whatever it is that you're doing, ensuring that, because the truth is this, it's not about you, it's about being, it's about everybody around you also being the best of themselves, and it's something that I'm committed to, with my family, my husband, my children, the people that work with me, ensuring that everyone is the best of themselves. You keep pushing them, keep ensuring that, you understand, you can't crack a joke with the things of life. You have to give everything, your best shot. You being able to identify their strengths. I really do take time, to identify people's strengths, children's strengths, even for my husband as well. Like, look at, I said, why didn't you try this? Why don't you put in more effort with this? With the area he works in right now, I mentioned it to him. He told me a few weeks ago. He said, you know, if you didn't mention it, I wouldn't have done this. You know, but the truth is, I looked at it and I said, oh, you might have more opportunity with this. You know, why don't you try it? You know, it's his friends. I was very deliberate about it. I said, see, these people know where they are going. These people, we met them at some point. And I was like, see, these are the kind of friends you need. You know, I think you should stick with them, you know, and I think you should place a lot of value on them. And till today, this is probably 10 years, more than 10 years ago, you understand, these are still his best friends. You know, so it's something that, you know, because at the end of the day, we're all traveling on a journey, you know, and, you know, we try to ensure that everyone is the best of themselves. So I don't know if that answers the question, you know, but grace, a lot of grace.
To recall quite a number of instances. I recall that we did good fellowship together. I think that was 2015 at Abba's house. Then I recall a statement that he made at the time. He said, "You only do Christian stuff." Let me ask you, which one comes first? Some people say purpose precedes passion.
Which one comes first?
Yes, purpose precedes passion.
Okay, purpose. Okay, purpose.
Or on the other hand, would you like to share with us what you consider as a purpose in life?
Okay, are we talking about passion versus purpose, or like which one works, which one is more important?
Which one comes first?
I don't think it's an issue of, I think they work hand in hand. I don't think there's an issue of importance here, you know, in terms of purpose and passion.
Which do you discover first?
And I don't think I don't think it does it matter if which one comes first. You know, I don't think we want to deal with the semantics here. You understand? I'm thinking that we should be more concerned about the reality, you know, of you know, there might be one that comes first, but for me, you understand, it's important that you know what your purpose is. It's very, very important that you know what your purpose is. You know, but sometimes you won't know. You know, you won't. I've met people that don't know what the purpose is. So if you don't have a clear picture of what your purpose is, you know, doesn't mean that you pause and you don't do anything, you know, but what you like is usually relatively clear. So it's probably easier. It's easier in most cases, you know, to be able to identify what your passion is first than what your purpose is, depending on your level of, you know, connection and when, you know, your Spirit of God is willing, is telling you, you know, if you understand what I mean. So it's, I think.
Okay. I was going to say, by now, Esther Kemi should probably have been able to ascertain what her purpose is. What's your purpose?
What my purpose is? What my purpose is?
Yeah.
I've known it for years, you know, so probably before, you know, I funny enough, sir? Okay, what purpose is? Okay, I'll tell you. Oh, okay, I can. Okay, I can. It's not something I think about every day, but then it's clear. You know what my purpose is. Many years ago when I was in FUTA, you know, I was in second year. Well, I'll paraphrase, you know, because this is something that came into my spirit. You know, when I did not, I wouldn't say I had a clear picture of what, you know, I was meant to do and all that. I had my interests, no doubt, you know, but I think that's when I had a clear picture, you know, or that was the clearest, you know, point. I would say that I had an inclination into what purpose was, and it was God telling me that He wanted me to reach out, you know, to reach out to people, to be a blessing to people, to be able to influence people's lives through media. You know, that's paraphrasing. You understand? That's purpose for me. You understand? To be able to reach out, to be able to get across to people, to be able to bless them, to be able to impact them, to be able to encourage them, inspire them. Inspiration is very key to purpose for me. You understand? It's probably my most used word. in terms of what I do. That's my water, everything is to get to inspire, to ensure that whatever it is, it's sometimes more, probably even more important to me than, just working, what I work on. I'm happy when, what I do inspires, because it's part of, I like to inspire. I like to inspire faith. I like to inspire confidence. That you can, and so it's amazing that in the process of trying to inspire, I've also been inspired myself. I get to inspire myself, in the whole process. As I share my thoughts and all that, with folks, I can hear myself too, and I get gingered that, see, we need to get this thing done, we need to finish this thing, and all that. And, some people here would afterwards try to follow up and say, okay, let's see the stuff she's doing and all that, and they'll come around and they won't be disappointed. They'll see that, yeah, we continue to make advancements, we continue to make advancements. This probably, this is really, things that we're still really like, trying to climb up at this point. So yes, that's what purpose is for me, sir. In 2 words, to inspire.
Yes, I was also going to ask, you will notice that there's a great depth of Christian literature and Christian communication pieces for evangelism and for growth in the Christian body. So how would you say the work to contribute to the development of the Christian faith?
Of Christian book?
Of the Christian faith. How would your work, maybe in later years?
No, sorry, I didn't get a question. Sorry.
How could your work contribute to the development of the Christian faith?
Okay. How does it work with the development of Christian faith?
Your work, what you're doing, how could it contribute?
When I do my work.
Yes. How could it contribute?
Okay, to development.
In terms of stop motion.
Okay.
Are you looking at Christian stop motion works?
Okay. All right. Okay. Wow. Okay. Beautiful. Very beautiful question. Okay. Yes. First things first. I as a child of God, I haven't. I do not. Just do things on my own. I always like, or I work, based on the fact that I am being led, to do. I always like to have an agreement in my spirit to get it done. So at the end of the day, for many of the choices that I have made, lest I say all, because there's times that, 1 or 2 things happen, but then for most of the choices I've made, it's because that's what God wants me to do. And I'm relatively sure that that's what he wants me to do. It's been a journey of what God wants. Sometimes you make a film, I've made, I have a Christian direct, absolutely direct Christian stop motion film. I also have films. All of my films, talk about God. With time, I got to realize that in getting to reach out to people and being a true blessing, you lock out people when there's a way Paul puts it, that there are times that you have to have common ground. Now it's an interesting thing to say that there are times that people can connect with what they relate with. Now, when you tell a story that is interesting, and people can connect it with their lives, and then at the end of the day, you can bless them without, forcing what your message is at them. They can connect. You know, the films I've made, you know, have been films that have talked about God, you know, the principles, the things that that are critical to us as children of God, you know, our expression, how we express ourselves, you know, and the life, you know, we talk about the life-giving spirit, you understand, you know, and so many times, you know, some people say it comes across as, you know, more on the morals, you know, but then at the end of the day, it's essentially doing what God would have you do part-time, you know, and ensuring that it gets to the widest audience as much as possible, you know, and not, you know, trying to say that it's only this set of people, you know, that are godly. You know, for all I know, you know, there's some people that actually feel that probably ladies that wear trousers, you understand, are not godly. You understand? Well, I don't agree with that. You understand? So it's, for me, it's not the conversation is not trousers. You understand? And, you know, the conversation is not, you know, all of the things that it's about being whom God wants us to be, you know, and fulfilling that purpose. And so that's what essentially, so it's been us, we had to grow, you know, it's a complete growing, it's a growing of listening, you know, ensuring that we are being ordered at every point in time, you know, doing everything I've done, you know, it's opportunities I've seen, things I've applied for, you know, things, you know, when going into this year, you understand, you have a sort of, you know, things that you've heard, you know, and so if there are 10 things that you expected to do, you know, you get the instruction, you know, towards the end of last year, I got some specific instructions on things I needed to do. You understand, that was necessary. So it's essentially, it's, if you don't develop with God, you won't be sustained. I do not think you will be. You know, you won't be sustained. So it's essential. You know, it's part of the process that as we grow, as you know, whatever we do, you know, for me as a filmmaker, for me as an animator, you know, the truth is, even animation, the courage to do animation came from God. You know, it came from hearing, and you know, I heard it over and over, and I was not sure. You know, but then because I didn't see anybody doing it. You know, I didn't see. You know, a few days ago or so, I was having a meeting with, there's this French delegation that were coming to the studio, because I usually have some delegations come, you know, and they were like, and I told them, I said, this is some of the challenges that we're facing, because they wanted to know what challenges I was experiencing. And I said, and they said, oh, those are pioneer challenges, you know, like that. And so it was not like so straightforward. So you needed leading to be able to do that as well. You know, you needed some level of conviction, you know, not just, you know, doing things wildly, you know. Yeah.
Okay, between 2 hours of passion-driven stuff, plenty of explanations, except that you didn't play us any visual. I was hoping that we'll have probably 3 minutes video to close it. Is there anything like that on ground?
Okay, to play video. Okay, yes. I know that it may break, but I should have. Sir?
Is it possible?
Okay. What if to play it here, you know, I was thinking of dropping the link or something, you know.
Okay, all right. Okay,
let me see.
We'll do that. We'll do that. So in that wise, you just drop the link. You will drop the link, right?
The link, yes. Yes, okay. I want to drop the link. Let me drop the link. Okay. Okay. So I'll drop the link in the chat.
Okay, please do.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah. Let me just take this to that. So okay. So I'm dropping the link of the one I did last. I have quite a number, but I don't know. You know, I mean, let me just post one. If you check the page, the channel that has it, you know, so that's the link to it's titled Kolese, you know, like legless. So it's the last one that I just worked on towards the end of last year. It was the one that won the US what do you call it? It won the US competition that they had in Nigeria with Afri. You know, so it was not all right film. It's for you to judge. You know, so it's Kolese. You know, that's what the film is. Okay, I wrote K first. Okay, so so that's I've dropped the link, so you could check out the page that is Kolese is on. Though most of most of the films I have are hidden, as in like they're not even Kolese. Okay, I'm not sure. No, Kolese is not public. So without the link, you can't access it. I'm trying to limit the views for now, you know. So I just most of the films, you know, apart from Tomati, I try to limit the views. Yes, you know. So but that's a link, you know, so you could check out Kolese.
Okay.
You know, if you played it here, it will break.
No problems.
So it's
on this note, I'd like to say a big thank you to our guest speaker.
Thank you very much.
Esther Kemi Gbadamosi. Like she herself has said,
okay.
I've known Kemi for years. And when she was talking about her mom being supportive, and of course, I'm happy she qualified it by saying very supportive. And sincerely, I'd like to also appreciate, he probably will be somewhere behind the set, or maybe he's on his own somewhere, but probably listening, and that's Farati. I know, sincerely, it's been a great journey, but then it's been a result-oriented one and a resourceful one for that matter. I want to thank you so very much for agreeing to come on Passionomics. And sincerely, I do hope that you have inspired quite a number of people on this platform. I'd also like to thank the various people. I just discovered that Professor Mrs. Labate Dema is on this platform. That's my big sister. Wow, that's exciting.
Wow.
You know, when you get your big sister come to visit your home, it's something like that. And of course, I've seen my daughter too, Dr. Paramolua. I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank Accent Business Academy alumni, Vivian, Coyote, Lolade. I've seen quite a number of people online. And it's great also appreciating the in-house crew, Boluatife, John Odeni, Kunle Alapuro, and of course Daniel, who's around too. Thank you so much, everyone, because it's on this note that we are drawing a curtain on the 4th anniversary event. It's been awesome, it's been wonderful, from Debo Onopora to Benga Sheson and Kemi Gbadamosi. All these, whether you like it or not, passion-driven individuals, and of course, icons in their own industry. I'd like to thank you very much, Kemi. Once again, I'd like maybe you give your final words. Thank you very much.
Me?
You want to give your final words?
Okay. Okay, for me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll say that, of course, it's all God. It's God all the way. That we should put all our trust, and dependence, on Him. He's the one that keeps us. Every day we wake up, it's Him. He shows that He still does have a purpose. He does nothing without a reason. And so we should be absolutely dependent on God's grace, and not let that grace also be in vain. So as much as possible, let's keep moving. Somebody said that, whatever it takes, if you have to fly, if you have to work, if you have to crawl, whatever it means, just keep moving, so that you can see that grace can be fully expressed in our lives. Thank you.
Anthem, Enterprise Ed, celebrating Kemi and celebrating God.
Thank you so much, sir.
Enterprise Edge. There's something great in me, oh, a strength in me, oh, a power in me, oh, it makes me wanna fly. Do you wanna fly? Yeah. Get me out to fly. Do you wanna fly? I've got the cotton and I can fly. Soaring in the sky. I believe I can fly. Enterprise, I believe I can fly. With Enterprise, there's something great in me, oh, a strength in me, oh, a power in me, oh, it makes me wanna fly. Do you wanna fly? Yeah. Get me out to fly. Do you wanna fly? I've got the cotton and I can fly. Soaring in the sky. I believe I can fly. Enterprise, I believe I can fly.
want to have your comments at the close, and of course, take photographs. Can we turn on our videos? Everyone, please. Thank you, Mrs. Odeyemi. Thank you so very much. Victor Adeyemo, I can see you. Thank you, everyone. Can we have our videos now? John? Are you set for us? Pretty short. You're done. Can we take our leave now? Very next slide.